Friday morning we left our hotel, went about a mile and a half down to the trail, and then had like a 6-mile detour. To get back to the trail. Now we're finally down along the waterway. We're gonna somewhat take this back to a road to go to the hotel where our car's parked. So far this morning, the trail wasn't very pretty and the detour wasn't very pretty. This is us biking along the Niagara River. Seems like many moons ago we left here. Okay, so here it is. This was not a nice day. We left our hotel and drove down to what we thought would be the Shoreline Drive and take us back around to our car. We got about there and found out it was a detour that had been in effect for 2 years. No one told us about it. And then we had to go back on this and ride our bikes and then take city streets for, 6 or 8 miles. Right here we got to the water, and you see how long that lasted. And we went back into the city. And we stayed in the city and stayed in the city. At one point, I got so disgusted I said this. I don't think I would take this trail again, even if you paid me to take it. It's been a disappointment every day. The truth was, we were just kind of both over it. We were ready to go home. We had done what we wanted to do. We made it to the ship. We toured that, and we got a hotel, and then we had a ride back. On our maps, it said it would have been an 11-mile ride if we went from hotel to hotel. The hotel we stayed at that night, and the hotel that we parked the car by. But we thought, well, we'd go ride this last little bit along the waterfront, and that'd be 14 miles. Well, with the detour and everything, it ended up being 20. And we had just about had enough. But we made it back to the car. The car was in great shape. It was a really nice place to park it at that hotel. And then we could begin our drive home, and the ride home went really good. Through the border crossings and everything went excellent. So then as you ride home, and then the next 2 months, because that's how long it's been since I'm making this, you begin to think, would you do it again? I don't know. The planning part's fun. I really like that. I spent hours and hours and hours planning things. That's always fun. Lori can tell you that. To be honest about it, there were some places on the trail that weren't that nice. There was the ride through Syracuse. There was the detour through Buffalo. There was the 20 miles of hills and busy road that we did on day 4. But then again, if you add that all up, that's maybe 40 miles of the trail. We rode 392, I think, by the time we were done. So that leaves 350 miles of the trail that were just plain beautiful. There's everything from 8-foot wide crushed gravel to really, really nice paved trail. I think the last 60 miles was paved. And there's 1-lane little dirt trails through the woods that really weren't bad at all. We rode along the canal, of course. We rode through rock cuts on old railroad grades. We rode through tunnels. We rode on city streets. We rode on a lot of different kind of surfaces. Mike says us old guys just talk to each other all the time. Well, we got to stick together. You know, we understand that most guys our age either can't do what we do or most likely won't do what we do. So we're pretty fortunate that we're out here. And all the social rules that divide us are not very important when you get out here. And we know that riding a bike at 66 is almost as fun as it was riding it at 6. And we also know that seeing the world at 10 miles an hour is really a cool way to see the world. So all in all, that's why we do it. We saw some really neat things like Lockport, where they've got these statues on the old lock. That's incredible. I'd go there whether I was riding a bike or not. I'd go see that again. Some of the hills were just plain our fault. We could have done a better job of looking at Google Maps and looking at the elevation change between the trail and the hotels and tried to do better that way. And I've been practicing on hills since we've been back home. And maybe I just need a new bike. Maybe that would solve some of our problems. And we saw boats. You know, I was hoping before we went we'd see a few boats, and we saw a lot of boats. We saw a lot more boats than what we filmed, actually. Well, we were, after all, on a canal. Duh. There was plenty of historical stuff to keep it interesting. There was tons and tons of signs explaining everything, the old canal system, and different things that we saw along the way. They don't translate very good into video, so we didn't take a lot of video of those. And of course, we saw the USS Slater. That was probably the highlight of the trip. It was one of the main reasons for the trip, actually. That was incredible. I would go back there again. We saw a lot of nature stuff. We saw deer swim in the canal. We saw really beautiful landscaping. We saw flowers. We saw a lot of turtles laying eggs. We saw a lot of geese. It was really pretty. Spent a lot of time in the woods. It was nice. You're never very far away from your bike. We parked them everywhere we went. We had to lock them up when we went in the restaurants. We locked them in campgrounds. We slept with them at night next to our bed in the hotel room. You're constantly by your bikes. You never leave it very far away. And then there's food. That's my favorite part of the trip. We had great breakfasts, incredible breakfasts. We had good food. Sometimes we cooked our own by our tents, but most of the time we went out. We had great staff, and it was just a pleasure. Oh, this ice cream was fantastic at that place. It was Hershey's ice cream. That was good ice cream. This church that we stopped at where they catered to bikepackers was really cool. That was great. Colleen's was great food. It was kind of unique. I really like these murals. There was murals all down the trail. It was really well done. It was kind of fun to look at. There were some I didn't take pictures of that I really wish I would have, but they were fun. We only camped a couple nights. Wish we'd camped more. If I had done anything different, I would camp more and not stay in like the camping cabin that we stayed at, because our camping experiences were pretty good. And then we met people. They were really great people that we spent some time with. It was a pleasure. It was fun. And I spent a week with my son Mike. That was the highlight of the trip. So the question is, would you do it again? And you know what? I probably wouldn't. But I wouldn't have missed it for the world either.